Hi everyone, it's Tracy here from Art Fiber Stitch. Last year I did these pieces with a gel plate, and I had a little left on the paint on the plate at one stage, so I just popped this piece of linen on just to sort of clean the plate off and see if I could get a print. So that's what I'm doing. I have used that as my starting point. And I've grabbed a couple of fabrics. I've got a organza. I've got this beautiful cotton fabric that's got all different kinds of colours in it. And here is this piece I was talking about. It still is a bit of a print of the flowers. I think I can use it. Why not? Why not? I don't want to waste it. But it'll depend on what it goes with. And that's what we're talking about, colour and composition, to make sure that you get a nice picture. With this picture you could make anything really. I mean, you can plan it as a book cover or a pin cushion or whatever it is that you're wanting. But I'm just going to do a flat picture just to see. Now can you see these colours in here? This lovely purple and green and blue mixture. There's plenty of different areas I could use there. I'm wanting to brighten it up a little because the white and the mauve kind of organza there is just a bit too bland. I'm just going to snip and rip some of this and we'll see whether I think I can use that. It is lovely. I'm not going to need all of this either. This organza is easy to rip too. Now it has a rolled edge hem on it, so I may well use that. I've left it on. And here's some more. Well, you know, I could pop some greeny bits in. That might be a nice contrast. You know how you have just one colour in there with all different varieties. I've got bluey purples, you see. But I thought a little tiny touch of something else, which I could bring more in later with my stitching. So let's take a little bit of this green and see if that is helpful. We will see. Let's play with that. Now this is the fun part. You know, we can spend a lot of time putting things under, putting things over, changing it up. I'm looking at this piece and seeing, does it become more dynamic if it has a colour underneath it? Can you see what I mean? I'm getting purple through there. That's, you know, it makes it quite interesting. What happens with the organza? It's much more see-through. So I start layering things up and seeing what properties each material has that I'm trying to bring out. You know, I could use the organza to go over some of that print, or under to colour it. You can definitely see a stripe there underneath where that organza is shown up. How else could I do it? Well, I did save this rolled edge. I could use that as part of it. Stitch that down later. I'm not going to need all that, so I'll just cut it off. Some manageable size pieces here. And we'll have a play again. And this is what you do. You just play with the placement, putting things where you want it. We can't always envisage what it's going to look like, so that's why it's fun to just keep trying. Do I like it with the dark there? Do I like that over top, the organza over top? I could do that. Or do I like that darker colour underneath that print? Don't know. So this is what happens. You end up trying things. I'm going to cut some of that, I think. Not sure where. We'll just get into it and see. It may appear that I'm very indecisive, and I'm looking and trying and letting ideas suggest themselves to me. No, not happy yet. And that's what I'll do. I'll just keep playing. As I'm going, I'm thinking I probably want to put a little bit more of that in. But I'll start with maybe cutting it and putting a smaller piece in. So I'll do that, and then I can feel free to try it in a few different places. Maybe I can go one underneath and one on top, and I'm balancing it out a bit with that colour. Now the thing I like to do is to separate it. I like to put a frame around it so I can envisage it without everything else around it. And I'll try it upside down, and I'll try it on its side, and I'll see, what suggests itself to me, which I prefer. Am I happy yet? And that's a great way to, view your design and see whether it works for you. For instance, I'm looking at this printed fabric and I'm thinking, it really does obscure my lovely purpley blue fabric underneath. And then I remember, well, it's on that linen, that loose linen, so let's try this. And I just disturb that weave, pulling it, poking it and scrunching bigger holes there. And can you see straight away we're getting bits of that purple show through? I mean, that could be an accentuation of those flowers that are actually on the print that we can hardly see. So we could make it as part of the design. I like the idea of that. So yes, I've decided I'll incorporate that into my design. And I'm still going, I'm still looking. I don't mind spending time doing this, it's fun. Now I did like that. I've just taken a little bit off the side there, and I've thought I might do a little bit more of that, a little bit more of these, scrunching and pulling the weave apart. Yeah, I think that'd be good. I could use that little tiny bit as well if I wanted. And because it's a personal decision, what you like, isn't it? So I'm just, wherever there's big white bits here and I don't have that print, I'm just pulling and poking, and I'll allow more purple to show through and I'll be happier with it then. Yeah. And I'll allow the stitching to bring in those flowers. I'll do that at the end once I've decided what I want to do. Isn't it great how one little thing can suggest a totally different project? I could have used this white and mauve piece that I started with, and I could have made it into something else. I could have not put a bright colour in. I could have stuck with that organza and the cream, and I could have made it more vintage looking. I could have done a lot of things, but this is the way it's suggesting itself. But that mauve, that organza, I don't know. It wasn't quite the right colour. Don't be frightened to pull something off and say, nah, that didn't make it. That didn't make the cut. So now I've grabbed something else. I've grabbed a bit of a doily. Well, a whole doily, but I don't mind cutting into it. There we go. I've cut some off. See, now wouldn't that be interesting? I think it would. Yeah. So we've got that cream that sort of echoes that background colour of the calico. So here we go on another adventure. There is no right and wrong way. It'll be your personal preference, how you like it. It's your work, your piece. But I've decided I like this green, and I would like to see a little bit more of it. So I'm going to cut some more. I'm going to cut some off this larger piece I have and then have a look at it and see. There it is. Pretty. I do like that green. We'll do the same. Snip and rip. And here it is. Now, does that... Oh, that has changed the dynamic. Getting rid of that muddy coloured chiffon I'm bringing these crisper, brighter colours in. I like that. I think that's what I'm going to do. And there we go. Doesn't that look pretty? What I do now is I would just sort of pick out some threads, some mauve, some teal, some green, some, bluish purple. Things like that that I think are going to go in there and that I can use. I'll also use something lighter. I'll use something more like those bits of cream background. Can you see how I like to leave little bits of the background showing and not bother? Not bother thinking that it has to be covered. I'll use it. Well, there we are. I'm really liking the combination of colours, and I think this is going to be beautiful. I'll show you in part 2, I think, how I'm planning on stitching this and making it even more pretty. Thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed watching the process, and I'll see you next time for stitching. Thanks again. Don't forget to subscribe and like if you do.